Happy Easter, wife.
Happy Easter to you too. Or for you
Uh,
guys all, I hope your Easter was good.
to whoever celebrating Happy Easter,
Yes.
happy egg hunt later. We are. Are you going to welcome me back to the show, or?
Oh, welcome back. I'm happy to have you back. You make my
Yes.
life so much easier.
Okay. Good to hear that. But before we move on, I just wanted to give you kudos because I know that it's not an easy task to run one of those by yourself. So good
Yes.
job.
Thanks.
And today, before I announce the topic for today, I uh, I need an intro. So I'm doing an intro. Why are we here? So Marcin and Joanna. Last time, if you saw last episode, it was just Joanna. Now it's back to Marcin, the standard combo, Marcin and Joanna, and we're here to talk about wealth and health and all the good stuff. We're telling you how to use leverage intermittent fasting as one of the tools to make you feel better and lose some weight and kind of over time get to your weight goals. Today we're not talking about food. We're talking about physical activity, more specifically walking. A lot of times, it's sort of like a standard thing when people talk about reaching some sort of a weight goal. They talk about two things. They talk about food and exercise. And quite honestly, where we are, this is again not applicable for everybody immediately. But when we were in our 20s, we would just be hitting gym right at this point because we're not so aggressive right now. Um, we are recommending different alternative ways of doing physical activity, and we're going to explain why. So not just because we're getting older, but because it kind of almost makes sense, especially when you're starting or maybe you're at the beginning of the journey. You don't want to be changing too many things at the same time. You don't want to be turning a lot of knobs all at the same time and pulling a lot of levers because you're just going to get discouraged. It's really tough to kind of be suddenly switching your whole
Yes.
lifestyle to be now spending all the hours in the gym and eating differently. So we just have an alternative way of what you can do if you're considering some sort of a physical activity. We want to recommend walking. Is that about right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So walking. What do you got?
Yeah. So I just want to start regarding this is more towards individuals that are over 40. For you ladies that are premenopause and menopausal state right now, this is very important. We overall lose our muscle mass every year, a certain percentage. I believe it was 13% or 10%. I don't remember right now, but we lose this muscle mass every year. It's very important to keep this muscle mass. With this muscle mass loss, we also lose some of our important hormones for us women: estrogen, growth hormone, and our metabolism goes down. This is all just part of being a little bit older and over 40. We do want to emphasize that maintaining your muscle mass equals to longevity. What does that mean? It means the more muscles that you have right now, not the big muscles, but the muscles that help you move, walk, lift things, the better you are when you get older. That means that you're going to be less of a chance to be bed bound or to be chair bound in your 70s or 80s, if you keep up with your muscles right now at this point. So that's just the overall thing. But now let's go into this. We're 40, we want to exercise. In our 20s, we would be like, pick up the biggest, best thing there was, like CrossFit. I remember Marcin was doing CrossFit for a while. You just hit the gym, you went and you did whatever you could. You pushed yourself. You were achy all day or a whole week. I went to a gym like that too. Awesome. In your 20s, 30s, you could do it. But in your 40s, that is completely different. This exercise of CrossFit or anything that pushes your body to the point where next day you can't walk or do something, you have just increased your cortisol so high that your body needs to recover from it. So, with this increase of cortisol rushing through your body, you're not using your exercise to burn fat. And that's our goal here. You're basically, your cortisol just stops everything and tells your body to, like, whoa, hold on, there's something happening. We're stressing out and we're not going to be burning fat because we might need that fat later. So,
Yeah, yeah. So the link, and I'm like listening, and I'm always like kind of trying to simplify things, but the link between the link between, because you said yes, exercise is important, needs to be part of the regime, but if we push too hard, and I know you're going to talk about numbers later, but if
yeah,
we push too hard, our body then goes from not just like a casual exercise mode where it's just like doing some extra movements for the muscle. It goes into a real fight or flight,
correct.
uh, right, mode, and that's a super stressful situation for your body. So different things are happening. So like in this casual exercise mode, different things happen. When it goes into a flight and fight, different things
Yes,
happen. So like we want to avoid being in our 40s and 50s. We want to kind of avoid that and make sure that this fight and flight is not taking place, because it's raises cortisol and then causes different things to happen. So that's how I understand it, correct?
correct. Even
Okay.
for those marathon runners, it was great 2030s. But even when you're in your 40s, it is recommended for you to have your days with a um, lower intensity exercise. Keep moving, but it doesn't have to be at running for 10 miles. Especially for us premenopausal women, we once our cortisol hits up high, you're basically blocking your weight loss. Your anxiety will increase. Your hot flashes will increase. You want to keep that cortisol to the minimum. The superpower thing of walking is it will lower your cortisol. It will improve your fat burning and support better metabolism overall without stressing your body. And when you do walk, you want to be what's called zone 2, fat burning zone, and I will go into that later. But basically, it's when you can go for a walk with somebody, carry a conversation, and not be winded to the point where you have to stop. Oh my God, I got to stop. I can't, breathe. So it's that type of a zone where, you can walk briskly and carry a conversation. That is ideal for steady fat burning. Okay. Endless cardio after 40 is not good for building muscle. Uh, the lower intensity workouts are the workouts that you want to go for. Okay. So there is a good saying that when you leave the fat burning zone, which I will talk about, that moderate exercise, you teach your body to basically go into glucose storage instead of your fat storage, and staying in that fat burning zone teaches your body how to quickly switch from burning just sugar that you feed it to burning fat that you have stored. Okay. Anything that you want to add to that, Marcin? Maybe some like health benefits, mental health benefits of walking.
So you know what? I know you had your agenda that you wanted to follow. At the end, I wanted to, because I do walking,
Mhm.
every day, and I wanted to talk about my benefits. Almost, I have a list of why I do
Yeah.
walking, just based on like research and things that that I like to sort of implement as part of my routine. I wanted to run this list at the very end to see, like, okay, does it check out? Does your does your thing check out against my list? and then if it's a overlap, we'll just eliminate it. But if
Yeah,
we're
awesome.
missing something, I'll just add it, right?
Okay.
The thing you said about being in the zone, and again being in this like it's not just like a slow walking, right? It has to be
No,
like
yeah.
a pretty good pace. You're going to talk about numbers later.
Yes, next, right? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, nothing to add here
Yeah.
then.
So let's talk more about this walking. What rate should your heart be more or less? So your heartbeat, it's this is called MAF, which is the maximum aerobic function. So you take the number 180 minus your age. So for me, it would be 180 minus 48. My heartbeat should be no more than 132 beats per minute. Anything that goes out of that 132, I will be no longer burning fat, but my cortisol will start spiking up. Okay. So this is the important thing, what I want to say to us women and to men. It's no longer that mentality where you have to push it and then you're cranky the next day. You can't even, let's say you got to go rake the leaves. You can't rake the leaves the next day because you're in so much pain from the workout that you had. That worked for us 20s, 30s. Now that doesn't work for you anymore. Your recovery days, you should have recovery days, like slower days, but not recovery days because you can't move. When you do get into that phase, you're basically, you have just caused some damage to your body that will take you now longer to recover, to move on the next day. But being steady at that fat burning stage, you will get all the benefits of walking, the exercise, the mental health, as well as creating more energy instead of decreasing your energy. So again, it's 180 minus your age, and that's the target where you want to stay around. You don't want to go much above that. Now, once in a while, if you go, in a week you go one or two times above that zone, it, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. But your exercise, your daily exercise, should not be above that all the time. Now, everybody's different, right? What works for me may not work for you. What works for Marcin does not work for me. Um, but more or less, the point of the story here is choose walking over the heavy exercise of running or CrossFit, just because your body at this state does not recover as fast as it did before, and you're causing yourself long-term damage more. So go ahead. I think I'm done for now.
Like you said, everybody's different, and if you're already exercising, do whatever you're doing. Do whatever works for you. The point I think we're trying to make is that walking is an alternative way to do it. And when Joanna talks about numbers, I'll use yours was 132 or whatever.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say 50 for the sake of whatever because I'm
Mhm.
49. But the thing is, 180. So I'm around the same 130. But I gotta tell you, it's hard to get yourself to 128 when you're walking.
It is.
You're almost running. Like it's not something that we have to be fixated on in terms of like the number. Is it 125 or
Yeah.
132? Like it's really hard when you're walking fast, like at a good pace. It's even hard to get yourself to 125. Like you almost have to. It's not. It's turning into like a slow jog,
Sprint
right? So
almost. Yeah. Hmm.
so don't be fixated on the number so much. It's one of those things where you're just not going crazy. It's a good pace. It's a healthy pace. And I got to tell you, when you're under 120, just because I've been walking for the last 2 years on a regular basis every day, sometimes couple times a day, sometimes couple twice a day, sometimes. you don't need recovery because it's not as intensive. It's like it's a good walk. Like you may be on a bad day, you may be a little deflated because like you walked a good distance. When I say a good distance, I consider anything from like 40 minutes to like an hour. That's like a longer
Yeah,
dedicated walk. It's not just like a go in front of their house and walk for 10 minutes, right?
yeah,
So yeah, even if you do 40 minutes of that at 110, which is like a pretty good pace, you're not gonna have to recover. So, and you'll never switch over to this crazy zone with cortisol and the thing that Joanna's mentioned was because why is it bad for the cortisol? Are you gonna talk about it later, or can we talk about it now?
you can talk about it now. Go ahead.
Because the thing is, if the cortisol, right, the cortisol when it kicks in now we again, like I mentioned earlier, the fight and flight phase, and what happens is your body then goes, instead of like being in this mellow mode, like hey, where are we pulling energy from? Like from the
Yeah,
fat, right? The body goes, we're gonna pull energy from wherever we need to pull energy because we're under stress, something is happening, and cortisol is being released, meaning your body is like now stressed in a panic mode, and it just pulls from everywhere, including your muscle. So a lot of times when you hear people saying like they want to exercise on an empty stomach, they say, oh, it's highly recommended. Yes, it is highly recommended, but again, if you're within this nice mellow aerobic zone, because
hmm,
if you go higher, your body, instead of now tapping into fats or tapping into whatever food you just ate, it'll start tapping into your muscle immediately, which is bad. So that's just something I didn't understand it. Joanna didn't understand it. Like we were looking into it because we were like, what? Some fitness gurus recommend that you do it on the empty stomach, and it's like, oh, we get it. So if you go over that magic number 120, 130 on empty stomach, it may be actually counterproductive for you. So you may be actually
correct,
hurting yourself in a way.
correct.
So just keep that in mind. That's all.
Yeah, and another thing that I just do want to say that us women, we're already decreasing our hormones, and when you produce so much cortisol and you work out so hard, your estrogen levels will decrease even more, which then brings on a whole thing of of issues with perimenopause on top of it. So, and even for the younger women, some of them, as you know, some professional athletes, if they exercise heavy for a long time, they actually don't have their periods anymore. They stop menstruating, and that's all because if your body is in a constant constant cortisol spike, everything shuts down and your body will protect itself and not want to reproduce at that time, so your sex hormones will be significantly decreased. And for us women right now at this age, you don't want that. You want to do everything you can to have as your hormones last you as long as possible and as strong as possible. So that's the importance for us. I completely recommend walking. That's what I do as well. I do a lot of my planning as I walk on what we're going to talk about. I do a lot of book listening and gather all my information then, and sometimes it's just fun. We even do it when family comes over. We take them for a walk instead of just sit there and sit at a restaurant and eat. We drag everybody for a walk. Last people we did, we took my brother and his wife for 3 mile walk. So so yeah, that's definitely a thing that we go for all the time. Um, and I think that's it for on my side, Marcia.
On yours. Okay. So like I said, let's run it against the list that I kind of over time uh, assembled as far as like the benefits and see if you hit those spots or not.
Yeah.
So for me, first one was I I remember when I was starting for the first time, kind of like planning out the walks. I was like, I was never a walker. I not particularly like exercise, but I was what came highly recommended was basically combining your exercise or your walking with something else that you enjoy. So for me, you already mentioned you like listen to some material, right? So
Yeah.
and for some of us it could be different, but like for me, I remember it was audiobooks. So we're kind of the same there, but I don't only do audiobooks. Sometimes when I listen to podcasts or I have some like YouTube material I want to go over, or even for those of you guys that are like trying to get yourself to maybe you're working on your career, or maybe you're trying to figure something out with like, even lately we've been using an application called is it Speechify, which basically allows you to like scan documents. So even if you're catching up maybe with material from like school, you can scan it, and like as you walk you can listen. So the bottom line is you combine it with something that you actually are looking forward to. So if there's a podcast you enjoy, you can play that. You can do an audiobook. You can catch up on some material. You can listen to anything related to like your work. So you're not just walking. It's not just a
Mhm.
physical thing benefit, but it's also you're growing, right? You're moving forward. You're
Correct.
closer to you're getting yourself closer to your goal. So that's number one. Number two on the list was improved mood. So walking basically releases endorphins. Did you cover endorphins? I know you gave me a
No.
perfect example with like what happens with the animal. So go
Yeah.
through that, and then I'll finish my point.
All right. So, an interesting study came out talking about endorphins and the runner's high. How a runner, after running a certain amount of time, they get that runner's high. The endorphins kick in, and they can just keep going even more.
Yep.
Well, in the animal kingdom, how it works, endorphins are actually released when an animal knows it can't not get away from a lion or any
Predator.
predator.
Yes.
When it can't get away, endorphins kick in so the animal can peacefully lay down and be killed, and not feel the pain. Relating it to us, basically, your endorphins, what happens to the runners when your endorphins kick in, it masks the pain that your body is feeling in order for you to keep going. Okay. So is it a good thing? Yeah, I guess it's a good thing when you're a marathon runner and you need that extra energy. But over time and years, that will all catch up with you. And that's proven, that's said. There's no other way to do it, no matter how much we want to take a look at it. Your 80-year-old or 70-year-old self will maybe regret some of the things that we pushed our bodies to.
I wish my body released endorphins as you guys get ready for the church on Easter morning. To ease the pain. But the thing is, back to the subject, improved mood walking releases endorphins, which can help reduce stress and boost your overall mood. So bottom line, puts me in a better mood. I'm always happier when I get back from my walk. Usually 10 this runner's high that Joy and I is talking about, that usually happens 10, 15, 20 minutes depending on how fast you run or distance or
Yeah.
whatever. But like 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the walk, your whole body just kind of jump starts into
Yeah.
living mode. So it always feels great. The other thing is, I used to do it regularly. I do it less now, but like it helps you with better sleep, because regular walking can improve sleep quality. So you're gonna be more rested and energized. So another two
Yes.
benefits from that. As you walk, obviously you breathe, not maybe as heavily as if you were to run, but like a brisk walk can increase oxygen intake. Right, you're breathing more oxygen benefits to your brain, to your muscles. Everything gets extra oxygen, and it basically what is and it's at the same time enhancing your mental clarity and physical endurance. So
Mhm.
again, only benefits out of that. If you are if you're lucky and maybe live close to the beach, like myself, you can always do it barefoot, which that's helping you with grounding. If you're familiar with grounding is allegedly helping you a lot with inflammatory states. So it helps with inflammation and also improves just your overall well-being. So I have to tell you, since we moved to Florida, since I started walking barefoot on the beach, I just don't get I just don't get sick. I don't know. It just it's very infrequent, so it definitely helps me. And then Joanna mentioned like planning and like scheduling things and whatever. It's been proven that walking actually helps you with enhanced creativity. So it's anytime you want to you want to kick in with the creative thinking. Um, you want to solve ideas, solve problems, just kind of work through different problems. I always, I'm known for that. Joanna knows that when I'm trying to figure something out, I'm like, I got to go for a walk. And usually during my walks, I literally try to be intentional about something, and it's always so much easier than just kind of trying to come up with ideas on the fly, on the flight. And then vitamin D. I mentioned the walking bare feet, but also you're walking outside. So especially when now it's getting warmer outside, and we know that walking outdoors exposes you to sunlight, and this
Yes.
helps with production of vitamin D, which is essential for again your immune system and your bone health, and mood again. So all of those things are just great benefits. That's why we do it. That's why I do it. And that's what it is.
So
Anything else?
yes, I do want to just give an example. So about 7 years ago, in my work, through my insurance, there was this challenge where
Hmm.
you could get a free iPhone, I'm sorry, Apple Watch, if you do a certain amount of walking. So my boss and I did it. So my boss at that time was in his early 60s. And what we had to do is every day walk for about 30 minutes. It was all about steps, more or less, but you had to do 30 minutes. And I think it was 6 to 8 5-minute walks within the day, like short bursts of walks. He paid off his whole watch completely. His doctor said that he hasn't seen such good results overall, his results on everything, in a very long time. And I was asking him, what did you change, what are you doing? And all he did was walk. Okay. And for me, well, it just helped me. I just walked. It helped my mood, it helped everything else. I didn't walk off the whole watch, but I did more than a half of it. So that was a good way to even prove to myself that walking really helps. And that's how I started my walking journey. But the big takeaway here is that movement matters. It's not about what kind of movement it is, that you have to be jogging or how badly to push it. You need to push. You need to move. If you can't walk a little bit faster, then you start walking slower. If you can't walk a mile, then you start walking half a mile. It's this constant moving forward, being able to move, and slowly just maintaining your muscles by lifting, by push-ups, by squats, or just at least by walking. And that's
Yeah,
important.
yeah. And if you want to be David Goggins and you want to go crazy every day, do that too. As long as you're moving, nobody tells you to slow down and start walking. I know especially for those of you guys that are watching on or listening on Spotify, the episode is usually delayed by a week, depending on which platform. On YouTube, it's I believe 2 weeks behind. So if you want to get the most up to date stuff, if you have questions about the episode, this one will be launching the this week, which is probably
24th.
25th.
24th.
24th. So just to give you a perspective, depending on when you're watching, it's like this is when the episode goes live in the Facebook group. And if you're interested in joining, getting more information, having access to us, maybe you have some questions you want to ask directly, you can always reach out to Joanna. You can always leave comments. Comments helps, especially because we know how to gear this content to kind of where your needs are. So just helps us tremendously to understand like where people are and what is that they need to resolve at any given moment. We call it sort of removing the kink in the hose, right? So if you're stuck somewhere, maybe with the food, maybe with the exercise, maybe with the sleep,
Yeah.
maybe it's a perfect opportunity to do that. You can always just scan the QR code, and this is the group. So we invite you officially. Join us if you can. It would mean the world to us. And I think that's it for me.
That's it.
I would encourage you to implement walking in your routines. It's I don't know. For me, it's a it's been a game changer. I walked this morning 4.5 miles and felt absolutely great.
Yes. Yes.
Anything from you, Joanna?
No, that is it. Just keep
With that,
trying new things, keep pushing yourselves, and fast on, my friends.
cool. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.